Hello, it's Stuart Clark here from the Scale Model Podcast, and tonight we've got the Moosaroo Cup 2 inbox review, or at least the kit I'm going to be doing. And first of all, I want to thank Les from Lightspeed Distributing, as well as IPMS Hamilton, both Ian Fraser and Alan Muro, for providing this kit and the other kit for us. For those who don't know, the Moosaroo Cup is an unofficial competition between the Scale Model Podcast out of Canada and our good friends at On the Bench down in Australia. This year it's myself and Julian in the driver's seat. So Les, Ian, and Alan provided some kits. This year we're doing gyrocopters, it seems, and I have the Mini Art 135th Avro Cierva C30A in civilian service. So I just thought before starting to build it, now that Julian has his down in Australia, I was do a quick little what's in the box. So there's the box art, very nice looking. As you'll see shortly, it comes with a bunch of schemes, and there's a quick look at some of them. But let's get right to what's in the box. So I'm just going to go through some of the sprues here. So we're going to start with the fuselage, one of the fuselage sections. As you can see, very nice, very crisp details. This is in 135th, and I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, this kit came, all the sprues came in one bag, and I know Julian had a similar issue, but it did result in at least one part there splitting a bit, so I'll have to put that back together. And Julian had a few more. So hopefully in future, Minicraft will bag them separately. Other than that, at least from what I've seen so far at my quick glance, I haven't seen a lot of other issues, but we'll wait and see. All right, moving on, we've got the second sprue part with the engine's assemblies. And again, fairly crisp, nicely molded. A few little plastic marks here and there, but nothing that we can't deal with. Cockpit is right there, the instrument panel. As I say, very nicely looking detailed engine. I don't think I've ever done an engine in this size for an aircraft, at least in quite a long time, so that'll be interesting. Then we've got the interior cockpit section with the seats. Again, some very fine molded parts. These will be interesting getting them off the sprue for sure. But so far, nothing else that what I've seen that's broken. And the ejector pin marks seem to be in logical places, so we'll see what happens there. And then the next piece is part of the tail rotor assembly and the back tail plane. Fairly nice detail there, very subtle, with the making it look like a fabric skin. And again, there's the tail rotors, and thankfully they seem to be intact. But again, some very fine pieces. I'm going to have to be really careful cutting these off. Moving on, we have the 3 rotors. Again, very fine piece there. Luckily, everything seems to be fine. And these are all duplicate parts. Looks like from what I saw in the instructions, you can build it with the rotors folded or fully open. I think mine's going to be folded just to help with storage. And of course, the last sprue is the landing gear. It looks fairly straightforward. A couple of parts there. Okay, now moving on, we've got the decal sheet and the canopy. Now again, the clear sections and the decal sheet came bundled together. There's the clear section, not a lot for clear parts. Pretty straightforward. And then, as I say, the decal sheet also came in that same box, and there's a box for quite a few decals for quite a few different markings. And I'll describe what I'm going to do in a few minutes with that. And then you also get a small sheet of photo etch. It comes in this little box, and small in size, even if you consider this as 1/35th. So, as our good friend Ian would say, photo etch is your friend. But there we go. Some very fine parts. A lot to do with the engine areas and for where the helicopter blades attach. So I will give this a best attempt to try and do this photo etch. We'll see what happens. The rules for the Moosaroo cup are fairly straightforward. You can build it however you want. You can add whatever you want, as long as it's recognizable. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Okay, here's the instructions. These are very good. I actually downloaded them because I just opened the box a little while ago, and I was very impressed with them. So basically, you get some nice color pictures, a full-on sprue count. There's also a color chart indicating the various colors, and they've got various different paint lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different paint lines, 8 different paint lines. So should match most things you're going to throw at it or what you may have. So that's a kind of a nice feature. And then the instructions are fairly straightforward. They're basically photos or photorealistic drawings. So we have the engine assembly, some photo etch kits involved right there. Color call-outs are pretty well all throughout, and they match up. So again, more the engine assembly floor, the seats with the photo etch belts, full instructions on how to add them. Then we move on to the throttle assemblies, so that'll be interesting. Again, definitely going to be a challenge for me. The rest of the cockpit assembly. And then we've got the side of the fuselage, whether you decide to put the access hatch in an opened or closed position. Then the cockpit section goes in here. This will be interesting to see, especially with this angle, making sure everything lines up before you close up the fuselage. And then there's some more work here on the tail assembly, the engine assembly, etc. Landing gear. Definitely going to have to be some planning for painting, I would think. More of the tail plane assembly. Again, some more photo etch. Some pretty small things going to go in there. And starting to put in some of the blades for the propeller. Photo etch for that. The engine assembly goes in near the end, which is kind of nice. I can see myself painting a lot of the fuselage in that beforehand. And then the actual engine assembly. Landing gear, some of the wing stuff, and then, as I said, you have a choice between a flying position or a transport position for the helicopter blades, and that's the final thing. Now, it does come with quite a few schemes. We've got one from Western Australia, one from a Metropolitan Police Auto Gyro flying school from the Police and Mail Service. I think this is the one I'm going to do. I kind of like the look of that scheme. I like that blue. So that'll be interesting. And then we also have the advertising one in civilian service. So this looks nice as well, but I think I kind of like this one here. I like that color blue. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah, so that's basically it for the kit. I'm going to get this started really soon. Julian's a very good builder as well, but again, we're going to have fun with it, and it's a large enough scale. I think it will come out very well, and from what I see here, this is my first mini art kit, and so far, other than the fact that everything was packaged in one bag, I'm pretty impressed with it so far. We'll see how it looks with the fit in that. So for more details, you can always look at scalemodelpodcast.com. I'm going to link to this at our next show, and this, of course, is on the YouTube channel. So as always, check us out there, and don't forget to check out our friends at On the Bench as well. Thank you, and be well.